Are any of you desperate for any type of news about the Cybertruck? Because I know I am. Honestly, it's just such a futuristic vehicle, and I still have a hard time grasping the idea that it's so affordable, so practical, and Tesla plans on making hundreds of thousands of them, because we've only seen the one prototype, and imagining them driving all over city streets and becoming as commonplace as a Model 3 just sounds hilarious and amazing at the same time. But the good news for today's video is that more things are falling into place for the Cybertruck to come out to production. Sadly, I don't think anything today will change my opinion on the Cybertruck not officially being delivered until early of 2022, but still things that need to happen nonetheless, because a new stainless steel manufacturing plant going by the name of Steel Dynamics has announced their plan to have a operational facility by the fall of 2021 in the city of Sinton in Texas, which is actually conveniently located just right between where GigaTexas is and where Boca Chica is, which is where SpaceX is working on mass production for their Starship prototypes. The 8th one they built just completed its amazing high altitude test for the first time ever, and it did pretty well. And they're going to be needing a lot of steel at that SpaceX manufacturing plant. And of course, given Cybertruck reservation orders have exceeded 650,000, sure, a lot of those reservations probably won't go through, and there's probably a good number of people, probably some of them watching this video, that reserved 2 to 3 Cybertrucks just so they could have their bases covered, some with full self-driving, some without, and some of you got tri-motors and some of you got single motors, just depending on what your financial situation is going to be when the Cybertruck is ready. So you have some backup plans. I get it, there's a lot of us out there, so even if, let's say, 50% of the Cybertruck reservations don't go through, that's still over 300,000 models, which they're not going to be able to build in 2022. So Cybertruck demand vastly is going to outpace supply, so it's good that there's steel mills that are not going to be too far away from the factory, capable of providing lots and lots of steel for GigaTexas. And while an agreement hasn't officially been made, the county judge named David has said that the steel being built from this facility, which is planning on employing thousands of jobs and all that, will be providing the steel for Tesla. But they've also said that a lot of the steel they're providing to their suppliers will be refined, of course, but a lot of the people buying the steel will refine it themselves, meaning that the steel Tesla ends up using for the Cybertruck design is not going to be accessible just to anybody. It's not like you'll just be able to buy the exact same steel the Cybertruck uses from that location, because Tesla is likely going to do a little bit of work to the steel once they get it and tinker it exactly to their specified needs. That's why on the website it's listed as 30X steel, because that X is the secret sauce. That's the combination of alloys that Tesla doesn't exactly want to unveil to the world yet. So Elon has said that whatever they end up using on the Starship rockets is actually the same steel they're going to be using for the Cybertruck. So you can expect that to be very, very durable. And of course, you can swing your sledgehammers against the vehicle as much as you want. And also to be very good at combating erosion if you're in a place where there's a lot of salt on the roads that would normally corrode away the exterior of vehicles. Cybertruck won't have that issue. And at the same time, I'm sure Tesla wants to make sure that the steel is somewhat light so that you can maximize energy efficiency when driving around in the Cybertruck. And I know in my last video I talked about how there were some people from Tesla saying that first deliveries wouldn't be until 2022. A lot of people were saying that it could just be a one-off, it could just be one sales guy trying to reach a quota and he doesn't know what he's talking about and he doesn't know anything more than we do. The primary reasons, though, I still believe the Cybertruck to be delayed is that at GigaTexas, which is going along smoothly and I still believe will be operational by Q3 of next year, it's becoming painfully obvious that they're focusing on the paint shop primarily, and that means that Model Y production will most likely be the main focus at GigaTexas initially, and then in time they will eventually start mass production of the Cybertruck. I still think they're probably not going to be able to reach first deliveries just because there's so many new design and mass production techniques they're going to have to learn for the Cybertruck, whereas scaling production of the Model Y, Tesla has that kind of down to a science. They're going to be mass producing it in Fremont, Shanghai, have Berlin and Texas, so there's not going to be much prototyping and research and development, whereas Cybertruck, Elon himself has said it's going to be a bit of a challenge to figure out how to mass produce it. But overall, I think that once Tesla does have the system figured out, it's likely going to be very simple and very streamlined because they get to skip so many manufacturing processes that other Tesla vehicles have to put up with, like the paint shop and the stamping presses, which Cybertruck, of course, does not have to worry about. And while I have you here talking about hyping up the Cybertruck, there's a render that I wanted to give a shout out to from an amazing artist, Alwinart, who designed the thumbnail and a lot of the renders for that Model S Plaid video I did a few months back. And he designed a concept of what the Cybertruck production model could look like with side view mirrors and, of course, windshield wipers, which, in case you guys weren't aware, at this point in time, it is still legally required for Tesla to deliver the Cybertruck with side view mirrors and windshield wipers. And I know the prototype didn't have that, and Tesla likes to make their vehicles as close to the prototype as possible. And that's great, because I don't want them to stray too far from the prototype, but unless the laws are changing, and it doesn't seem like they are, Tesla's going to have to come up with some type of side view mirror setup, and I haven't seen a lot of good renders and concepts out there, which is why I wanted to give the shout out to Alwinart for making some actually good looking ones. I think he nailed it because it resembles the cyber aesthetic that the truck is going for, while at the same time not being too obnoxious, and it feels like it fits with the rest of the vehicle and will still technically pass regulations and allow the vehicle to drive around on city streets in America, that is. You don't have to keep reminding us, you Europeans. We know it's not approved to be street legal in Europe. We get it. It's not meant for Europe, okay? There's like 10 trucks sold for every 1 truck sold in Europe, so you guys just gotta wait for the world version of the Cybertruck, which will be smaller, and that's obviously not the main priority because the American pickup truck market is the biggest one, although we're seeing some growth in China as well. But at least initially, Tesla's focusing on basically going after the Ford F-150 market because that's what the most popular pickup truck sales are. So making sure the Cybertruck can rival that in size and in functionality, that's the main concern. But anyway, that steel mill we talked about is supposed to be operational by the fall of 21, so knowing that a pretty important supply chain piece is going to be operational by the third quarter of next year is important for Cybertruck's production ramp, but also points to the idea that, yeah, fall of 2021, kind of late in the game if you're expecting Cybertruck deliveries to take place in quarter 3, but I'd love to be wrong on the subject. So feel free to let me know if you guys think Cybertruck deliveries will happen sooner. Thank you all for watching. Hope you have an excellent rest of your day. Take care.